Hey again, everybody, it's Sydney, and welcome to my reading log for February of 2026 that I'm uploading in March 2026. Starting with Sublime, I read A Man Who Defies the World of BL Volume 3. This series, I'm a little hit or miss on. It does definitely seem like it's just like touching on the tropes, making fun of them, but it doesn't seem like there's really much happening outside of that. So it's not exactly like, I'm not in love with it. I'm curious what they're going to do going forward, if they're just going to keep talking about the tropes or if they're going to actually develop stuff with him, but I don't know. Next up, we have Rainbows After Storms Volume 8, which is Viz, but not really like an imprint. Uh, just a cute high school Yuri about two girls trying to hide their affections for each other. Um, I don't think much really happened in this volume, though, honestly. They did talk about going to college and went on a tour to a college together, but yeah, it's pretty much just low stakes slice of life so far. Very opposite end of shoujo, which I assume Rainbows After Storms is shoujo, is Red River, volume 16 through 18. We are really getting into, is her name Chia? It's Chi something, isn't it? Oh, it's Yuri. Ooh, that was way off. I think I'm thinking of the author's name, Chie. Anyways, Yuri's assuming her role as the commander of the army, and things are happening because of it. She's running into issues, including a very, very major issue for somebody who's going to be a commander of an army, which I'm not going to divulge. Read it yourself, but it is really good. Then we have the other 3-in-1 shoujo beat title with Colette Decides to Die, Volume 6, Alto Yukimura. And it seems like we're finally actually developing the relationship between Lord Hades and Colette. In this volume, Colette is finishing up. Actually, I think she did already finish up taking care of the other village that she was working for temporarily. I think the last volume kind of ran together with this one. No, yeah, I think she does. She does have to. Let's see. No. Yeah, I'm wrong. I'm getting the last volume confused with this one, pardon me. A lot of this volume is focusing on Colette and Hades and their relationship finally developing past the initial point it's been at for a while. Next, we've got Shoha Shoten, Volume 9 through Shonen Jump. And we are continuing the comedy festival, focusing on some backstories this volume, focusing on this group that's on the cover here. Good backstory, good group, decent comedy, very enjoyable. It's ending, I think, a couple volumes, so it seems like it's going to be ending right at the end of this comedy festival. Next, we've got Sakamoto Days, Volume 20. We finally hit the big 2-0 with this one. And we are continuing to... Oh gosh. This is awkward to angle properly. Takamura... Yeah, it has been a little bit since I read this one, honestly. Yeah, essentially the person whose personalities shift assumes the personality of a very dangerous person. Um, and they have to kind of figure out what to do about it. And we get a backstory near the end of this volume talking about Rion and Uzuki's past. I think Sakamoto Days is still pretty good. I do enjoy it. I wish it was more comedy focused, but it's only so much you can do about that. Actually, I should probably talk about Shonen Sunday next. Now we've got Mao Volume 23, and we are getting the big mystery behind the I don't know what they call it, like the 5 rooms, the Battle of 5, whatever it's called. We're getting the mystery about that finally resolved, and it seems like we're resolving like a major aspect of the plot and then moving forward to a new arc with new goals. So this one's a really interesting read for the lore, for the story. We've got another Shonen Jump with Marriage Toxin Volume 11. We are finishing the fight with the Fire Clan, and I believe we're also, after that finished, we also had... So the Fire Clan finished very close to the end. And then we just basically had some more light chapters, as typically happens after these big fights. Then we've got Kagurabachi Volume 6. I believe we finished up the auction last arc, and in this arc, they are going to try and meet up and protect one of the sword bearers. I don't know if that's the word they're called. Yeah, one of the enchanted sword bearers, because they're going to be hunted down by, I almost said the evil group. What is the name of the organization? The Hishaku. Yes. So they are going to try and protect the sword bearer, pardon me. And things happen along the way, and some big fights start this volume, so it's very exciting. We've also got Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 29. This is the semi-final volume. I kind of don't want to really talk too much about it because I don't want to spoil it being this close to the end. I will flip through it a little bit. It's kind of an awkward angle for flipping through things, honestly. Let me save this Shonen Jump for the last one. We had another Shonen Sunday slipping in here with Free Run Beyond Journey's End Volume 14. I had a hard time figuring out what was going on in this one because it's been a while since the last Free Run volume. But we are basically focusing on Free Run's group and another group who are trying to work together to protect Serie, I think is her name. Yes, because Serie is trying to be assassinated by the International Magic Association. The Continental Magic Association is protecting Serie. The Shadow Warriors are the people who are working with Magic Special Forces to assassinate Serie. So there's a lot of fights happening in this volume. The first fight with these two right here, I kind of had a hard time following, honestly. But it's very enjoyable, and the action's really cool. I just had a bit of a struggle following that fight's logistics. Then we have Dandadan Volume 17. We are continuing the board game dynamic in this volume. They're getting very close to the end, or they finished. No, they didn't finish yet. We're at a big climax for the board game section. Very exciting and weird, which is all of Dandadan. Then we've got Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Volume 4. I believe this one I also had a bit of trouble figuring out exactly what was going on. But it's interesting to see how Boruto is affecting everybody around him, the people who still believe him that he is not this villain that they're made out to be. And there's some conspiracy going on because there's some people who believe he is they're still affected by what's-her-name's ability that made everybody switch the perception of Boruto and Kawaki. I think that's his name. But some of them are a little more suspect of it and are treating things a little more carefully. So it's some interesting conspiracy going on. Then lastly for Shonen Jump, aside from the big ones, we have the first volume of Ichi the Witch by Osamu Nishi and Shiro Usazaki. This is the artist behind Iruma-kun and the writer behind Act Age. It is a story about a young boy who is a hunter who develops powers after slaying a beast and becomes a witch in a world where there's no male witches. It's a very, very interesting premise. On paper, it doesn't sound that interesting, but the way they handle the story building and the power system is really cool. Not to mention Dekara is just such a really cool character. Very much acting like the sensei archetype. And I love how above everything she is and how over everybody she is. Just so far up her own ass because she deserves to be, because she is unparalleledly strong. It's a really great start to a series I'm hoping stays good. We've got Tearmoon Empire Volume 7. We are finishing up the conflict about the Sealant's Forest and figuring out the political implications behind that, what with the ruler of the two rulers of the area who are fighting over land, who are arguing over land. I don't want to say fighting over it. And of course, she handles it perfectly in the eyes of everybody else, so things end up happening perfectly well. And then, major twist, she finds out that she no longer has the diary, meaning her death is no longer in her immediate future. Question mark. That's what she thinks it means, but we don't know for sure. Very good read, especially for Villainess fans and, I guess, Otome Isekai fans. Next, we've got Happy Crappy Life Volume 4 by Kuma. We are continuing the hijinks, I should say, of these two people. I I love this series. I really hate this font color choice because it makes it so hard to read anything on here. I don't want to get too much into details about it. It is very raunchy. But they do end up going back to the city and seemingly getting a little bit back on their feet. Of course, hijinks with the shrine god that they managed to just have in like a very small form that they brought with them to the city. So yeah, I'm not flipping through this. It's way too smutty for that. Then we've got a single standard size Square Enix with the Emperor's Caretaker, Volume 6. And if you can tell by the cover, I think that's her main love interest and the guy who's kind of getting a little bit of interest in her. It seems like they're painting it out to be that's the focus of this volume. It really is not the focus of the volume. I don't remember specifically what exactly the main focus of the volume was. That's right, we had conspiracy with her uncle about him plotting to take down the family from within because he was treated terribly and didn't feel like he deserved the state he's in the family. I do really enjoy Emperor's Caretaker. Don't think my lack of memory is anything bad. Then we've got Atom the Beginning, Volume 13, and we are finally meeting the new AI developed by the laboratories, who is leaps and bounds ahead of all the other AIs inside the main laboratory. And yeah, nothing too much specific aside from just spoiling what happens at the end. A lot of the focus is on that. It's a pretty good series. I enjoy it, even if I have not read Astro Boy yet. Let's see. I will do Sheeply Horned Witch Romy Volume 3. It has been probably like 3 years since the last volume. Really don't remember much about this, but we are finishing up this series with them finally figuring out how to break out of the dreamscape that they are in. And it's just a lot of really weird things happening in order for them to break out of that dreamscape. A lot of odd situations and like Inception, like jumping down into multiple layers of these different characters. It's a really interesting series. I definitely think it would be better if you binged all 3 at once instead of reading 1 and then like a little bit later 2 and then like 3 years later 3. Next, we've got Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid Fafnir the Recluse Volume 5. Not really much to say about this series. It is just kind of cute. Nothing really special happens in this volume or anything. It's just more of their hijinks with living together and being neats. Working overtime. I did like this section here with the curses about he goes to meet Fafnir's curse, like these curses in Fafnir's space, tells him about the series, gets them really interested in it, and then they're so disappointed that the series ended without any conclusion that they haunt the author and inspire the author to make another new series. It's so stupid. It was definitely my favorite part of this volume. Then we've got another one of the 2 BLs I'm just not huge on lately, which is BL Game Rebirth, My New Life as the Hero's Younger Brother, Volume 3. And we are focusing a lot this volume on the conflict between his brother and his brother's boyfriend and potential love interest for his brother that's not his brother's boyfriend. It's a lot of focus on that one this volume, so not really too much to say aside from just we're covering that. We're seeing the jealousy, miscommunication, just fairly standard stuff in relationships. Last standard size 7Cs is 2.5 Dimensional Seduction, Volume 17. I kind of don't want to flip through this one either because it's very... it does have full-on chest nudity, and I don't want to have to deal with YouTube deciding that's not something good. So I'm not going to flip through it, but let's see. Yes, we do have a new cosplay started this volume because Liliel has run into her issue with not being inspired to make things properly, and then we are, thanks to the new club member kind of being a new perspective on things, the woman who's like the girl who's very, very good at everything and just doesn't really find happiness in a lot of things. It helps Lilisa. Is it Lilisa or Lil? Yeah, Lilisa. Liliel's a character. It helps Lilisa kind of ground herself and figure out what she truly wants in Cosroms. There's a lot of development of their professional relationship between Lilisa and the main character, and potentially maybe some new career opportunities for Lilisa once she graduates, so that's exciting. Then let's do the oversized 7Cs with Wimpy Demon King and Tsundere Hero. This is basically what it says on the tin. This hero tries to kill the Demon King, won't leave until he's done it, and then ends up falling for him, and then they end up having intimacy. I did enjoy it pretty well. It was fun, silly, the smut was decent. I think it was a good read overall, and I'm kind of curious what else Haruo Natsuno is going to do to see if they're an author I want to keep up with. A second 7Cs oversized in a row that I cannot flip through, the Titan's Bride Volume 8. It seems like we're getting very close to finishing the arc with the egg that they're trying to hatch. We are working on, I want to call him Gabo, that's not his name, Baro. Baro is working undercover to try and figure out who is trying to kill the egg. And I think either kill the kill Koichi before his bridal challenge is won. So there's political intrigue in this volume, and of course I think there's sex in every one of these volumes. It's like they're contractually obligated to have sex constantly. Next we have The Princess I Loved in My Past Life is Now a Middle-Aged Dad, Volume 2. Unfortunately, this volume, it does seem like we are going to be getting the ending to the series that I really wasn't hoping for, where, spoilers, the middle-aged dad does turn into the princess form, so it's no longer this weird, huge age gap, old man, young boy, or young man in a body swap weird scenario. It unfortunately kind of might just end up being a very standard romance at the end, but the comedy's still fun, and I can still imagine that he is a wonderfully bi boy who will love his princess as an old man or as the maiden he knew her as in the past life. Last 7C's Oversized is one that needs not really much detail. Cats with Jobs Volume 2 from Pandania. It is about cats with jobs. And it's just 4 comas, and it's cute and fun, and it's Pandania. Then let's do some Kodansha with The Drops of God Volume 2 by Tadashi Agi and Shu Aokimoto. We are continuing the challenge to figure out French versus Italian wines in this volume. We are finally having that challenge, and it's teaching everybody involved about the depths of wine and how different things can be for different situations. And we do end up, he ends up going to a tasting as well and trying to figure out what the best possible wine out of this giant blind taste testing is. So it's another test of his skills. It's a very good series. I said I had issues with stuff in the first volume. I don't think I really had any issues with it in the second volume. I will keep reading and see what happens, as long as we don't get a huge skip like what happened in the original English release, which I'm sure we will. But yeah, I think it's a really good, worthwhile series to read. Maybe the live action is good, but I haven't tried it. We have Go-Go Loser Ranger Volume 16, and we get some insight into the origins of Rangers and the origins of the monsters this volume. We have interfighting between the Neo Rangers and the monsters in like this televised fight that ends up pulling the main character into it, and we end up getting the main character sent off with some of the Neo Rangers, so we'll see what happens in the next volume from that. Then we've got Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun, Volume 18, featuring Trumpet Boy. A lot of this volume is focused on them preparing for the music festival and trying to figure out how they can work this new boy into their group, especially when his whole thing is wanting to be invisible. It's really cool, really interesting, a lot of good character exploration, fun things happening. Just a great series. I would 100% recommend it to most manga readers. Next, we've got Thunder 3 Volume 8. We are continuing the massive fight on all of the spaceships with all of the gag comedy characters coming out in droves, taking out the aliens, breaking the ships, and we are seemingly getting to a climax in that major fight with them finally meeting up with the main arbiter of the fight, or of the alien forces, and potentially learning there's somebody beyond him. Such a great series, though. 100% recommended to anybody. That's not... I got things a little mixed up, but let's just do Yen Press. Standard size. Villainess Stands the Hero, Volume 5, playing the antagonist to support her faves. In this volume, we are kind of focusing on her overseeing this major event. It's like a fighting festival thing. Oh no, it's not a fighting festival. I'm sorry. Pardon me. It's the swimsuit event. I thought there was like a little festival or something at the beginning she was witnessing before she got... Yeah, she ended up having to take care of these demons that popped up because of another person who is standing one of the characters. Yeah, I would say rightfully being mad at her for the way she's treating him and for everything going on. So he starts opening gates and summoning demons. We get to learn more about how her powers are really based on her literally using her standing powers for good to channel her energy into helping, into casting these holy spells. Really cool, interesting premise and concept. I like how it's starting to get into the magic aspect, but it's ending in one volume, so it unfortunately probably got canceled. Anyways, next up we've got Shy Volume 12, and we are getting a lot of backstory on Shy's sister and her realizing the true source of her powers and the true meaning of her sister's words and her life. A lot of introspection from Shy this volume, especially after some sad events happened at the beginning. There was a confusing chunk with one character suddenly having powers, and it being weirdly explained that I didn't follow too much and wasn't a huge fan of, but overall I think Shy's pretty good. It does unfortunately release on a very slow schedule, I think once every 4 or 6 months. Next up we have a first volume, Please Look After the Dragon by Shon Makase and Yuki Higashiura. A young man runs into this dragon in his town after having like a brief bit at the beginning where he's watching a show or he's reading a manga. I can't remember what it is. Really cool dragon design. Turns out the dragon turns into a busty anime girl. He is not a fan of that. He prefers to have to see these dragons and not as these characters. So when this dragon appears, he kind of assumes that's going to happen to her, but no, she just kind of stays in this dragon form because she can't really transform well into these human disguises. So it's a slice of life about them living together and about her learning how to better use her skills, become better at transforming, and to make a life in this new realm because she's not seemingly strong enough to exist in the dragon realm properly. It's a very fun read. I actually could have flipped through this. I did flip through that last one. I haven't flipped through this one yet. I really enjoyed this. Try to get my partner to read it, but getting him to read anything's like pulling teeth. Next, we've got The Otherworld's Books Depend on the Bean Counter, Volume 6. Would you be surprised if I said he's overworking himself and gets criminally magic sick and exhausted again? But he has a bit of more of a justification for this with what's going on in the church and this massive magic attack that happens. We have another character getting interested in him, seemingly sexually, romantically, which is some fun spice in there. Really enjoy this so far. Then we have Maiden of the Needle, Volume 5, another series I really enjoy. We are focusing a lot on, is her name, what is her name, Senri? Senri. Yeah, we're focusing on Senri's sister and her family in this volume because she is going to, basically, her old family house, because it's either like a massive fire broke out or it's... What is the miasma? A massive miasma breaks out, and they trace it back to the source to find out one of the spiders is actually attacking everybody in the estate. So we get to have some backstory and some more depth on her sister and some of her family, which was really, really appreciated. I'm glad they gave her sister depth and that she's not a one-dimensional bad character, a one-dimensional bad person. Really, really enjoy the series. If you're put off by the age gap that happens in the first volume with her marrying this older man, I haven't really seen any hint of romance so far. I think it's just to be like married to him so that she can have the resources and have the ability to be a successful person and be able to be the head of their estate. It's a very good series, though. Next, we've got Kindergarten Wars Volume 3. We have this big character in this volume where they spent a while fighting her, and we seemingly develop an attachment between her and the main character, which unfortunately, spoiler alert, she does end up dying, so she doesn't get to become part of the cast or anything, but it was a really nice breath of fresh air after it's just kind of more cute guy appears, cute guy gets killed because he said something stupid. But I'm not a huge fan of Kindergarten Wars so far. I'm enjoying it, though. Then we've got Not So Wicked Stepmom, Volume 8. We are finishing up the My Little Mermaid plot. I really like the way it got finished in this volume, with some revelations about the redhead's true intentions and her object of affections. It was really fun. I really do like this series. Then we've got Kill the Villainess, Volume 6 or 5. This one's 5, but Where the Villainess is 6. And in this volume, we are, again, surprised, continuing on her efforts to try and figure out how to die. And she, though that might be Beware the Villainess where that happens, she finds out how to become a witch, and it almost happens in this volume because of some major plot twist that happens between her and, I believe, the prince. I don't want to spoil that too much, but I really liked it, and I like the way it developed the story so far. And then we've got Beware the Villainess, Volume 6. This volume, we are focusing a lot on the romance, because she's kind of realizing, oh shoot, he actually cares for me. He actually probably loves me. I need to figure out what that means, and if I really feel the same way. A lot of this volume spent on that. There is some of the volume spent on other things. Yeah, because the plot's not progressing the way she thinks it should be progressing, so she has to figure out what's going on there. I do enjoy this one pretty good amount. The only problem I ever had with Beware the Villainess is the art style, because all the villainesses are like crazy great artists, and this one's just a good artist. So it's, I hate to say like the art's not as good, but I think it's fantastic art regardless. Then we've got Senpai's on a Tokonoko, My Cross-Dressing Classmate, Volume 4 by Pulm. And in this volume, we are really focusing on the girl figuring out her emotions towards Senpai and seeing if we can figure out I'm going to just call him Master. I don't remember his name. Master's emotions towards Senpai as well, because Master and Senpai ends up finding out about Master's feelings. Then we see what happens from that, the fallout of their relationship, if it falls out, where they're going from here. I have an idea because I've watched the anime, but it's still really riveting to read. Last Kodansha we've got is The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, Volume 11. And in this volume... Yeah. I thought that happened last volume, where she introduced herself to his parents. Yeah, No, yeah. There was... No, I guess that was this volume, where she introduced herself to his parents. They also went on a trip together, part of their school field trip. Very cute. I really enjoy this series, and I love both of the characters. I am a sucker for, like, tall, delinquent-looking boys that are just super, super sweethearts. Let me just go ahead and do I'll do Tokyo Pop and then Square Enix before I do Viz. The Princess and the Villainess's Way, Volume 5. This is one that kind of got to me really delayed. Unfortunately, not through anybody's fault, but we are finishing up the things in the village where she's trying to get this... I think she's trying to get the seed from the village because she has to figure out a way to fix things and save everybody. And we are focusing on her actually getting her spirit powers in this body. and her fighting the prince because he wants to get the spirit powers too, I believe. I don't remember specifics, but I do enjoy this one as well pretty well. It's a villainess though, so it always has a leg up on me because of that. Then we've got Mr. Villain's Day Off, Volume 7. Not super substantial. We have very cute stuff with the pet robot at the very beginning of this volume. We had some stuff with the cherry blossom tree, and we had some stuff with the Rangers near the very end. It's a very cute series. It's a good slice of life. Then we've got another series I'm not going to flip through, not because smut, but because extreme gore, which is Baki, which I read 7 and 8 this month. This is about Baki finally overcoming his a major challenge and beginning on a journey to face a completely new challenge with a head of the Yakuza, a head of one of the Yakuzas who was very young as well. So that's starting this volume, and it did finish up the last couple volumes, so I don't want to get things too mixed up here. I really do enjoy the character growth and the training in these volumes, though. Next up, we've got Viz with Steel of the Celestial Shadows, Volume 9. In this volume, we are continuing in this like small village area we're at, where somebody from the organization tries to kill everybody in the house except for presumably the girl that they still need to open all of these stones. We get to learn about her powers and how everybody's going to try and fight the fact that she's controlling literally all of them. We get some backstory on her, which is interesting, and overall it was very enjoyable. Then we've got Rooster Fighter Volume 9. Apologies for the shaking there. Trying to find a way to not hit this thing every time. And in this volume we are trying to essentially go to the person who taught Keiji's father about his his righteous egg, to learn the secrets of it so they can continue fighting these demons and the evolved versions of the demons. And of course things happen while they're in that forest, while they're running away from those demons. Really interesting, fun action, and some serious interesting parts to it. I enjoy it pretty well. I'm looking forward to the anime as well. Then we've got Not So Shoujo Love Story Volume 3, continuing with the motif of the spreading spine there. And not a lot happens this volume. They go to the school festival. They have some Valentine's Day stuff at the beginning. Their relationship, again, doesn't really seem like it's going much anywhere. They're maybe slowly going to realize feelings for each other, but I don't really know. It's just a fun, stupid read every time. Next up, we've got Cosmos Volume 4, and this volume they're starting to go to this school where the main character's little sister goes to try and look after the aliens there. We find an alien that's close to his little sister, and who ends up protecting his little sister from another alien who's trying to attack her, because his little sister's just popular with aliens, I guess. But we do learn some more about that other alien's backstory, and we also learn more about the Pied Piper at the end of the volume. It's like the major mystery from a couple volumes ago that's kind of slowly piecing itself together. We're learning more about the villain of that incident. So, really good read so far. Then we've got Chojin X Volume 11. We are continuing the tower raid in this volume. The fights are continuing as usual, and wrapping up, I think one of them, and a couple of them are still ongoing. This really cool fight with the... oh gosh, I think she was near the front of the volume, where she seemingly gets killed against this really, really sick-looking Chojin. I don't want to try and get to a page with him on it. It's very much just a lot of fights and them making their way up the tower these last couple of volumes, so I don't have too much to say, but it is really interesting, and I'm enjoying it. Then we've got Boys Abyss Volume 12, and in this one we are just continuing the drama, which is really the best way to describe anything that happens in this series. There's just too much going on for me to really recap everything that happened. I have a hard time kind of keeping up with the plot myself when it's going on. I do enjoy it though, and I think it's a really good soapy drama. Then we've got Ultra Heaven, Volume 2. We finally got this from Last Gasp. They had some issues with, I think it's their publisher went under, or not their publisher, their printer went under, and there was a lawsuit against their printer. It was Diamond Distribution or something. I don't remember the full details. But he is starting to chase this high he got from this man in the park that gave him this drug that hit him perfectly in the most crazy way. So he's starting to learn about that and goes on a trip, a different type of trip than he's used to with one of his friends, and we focus a lot of the volume on that specific trip. Ultimately, I think it's a very interesting series. It's ending in the next volume because it was canceled, I believe. So unfortunately, we don't get to. I don't know if we're going to get a good ending for it, but it was just very psychedelic with all of the ways things were drawn and the perspectives. So I think it was a worthwhile read regardless. But that is everything for this month, and I will see y'all next month for my haul.